My name is Sister Mary Scullion, and I'm with the ProjectHOME community. And on behalf of the residents, staff, and trustees of ProjectHOME, Joe McConnon and I extend to you a very warm welcome to all our guests and dignitaries. We're really thrilled that you're here. From our earliest days, we have sought to provide housing, education, employment, and health care to empower people to break the cycle of homelessness and poverty. And the Stephen Klein Wellness Center is the best expression of this core commitment to health. We believe that we can end and prevent homelessness. When ProjectHOME started 25 years ago, if someone had stood on this street and said that abandoned houses would be rehabbed to provide affordable home ownership for families, that the Honickman Learning Center and Comcast Technology Labs would stand as a shining light for education and workforce development on the 1900 block of Judson Street, that youth who were homeless are now going to college and graduating, that this entire block would be transformed into an older adult center and the Stephen Klein Wellness Center, people would have been very, very skeptical. But today, we are celebrating what once seemed impossible as possible. Because of you, because of every single person that is here, because of a partnership with the city, state, and federal government, Democrat and Republican, with the support of PNC Bank, Claire, Harrison, Harvey, Brandsburg Law Firm, Regional Housing Legal Services, and with the invaluable partnership of Thomas Jefferson University and Hospital, the YMCA, and the phenomenal leadership and generosity of Steve Klein, Lee and John Middleton, and Elizabeth Moran, this state-of-the-art health home and older center will become a reality in North Central Philadelphia. This center is a game changer, and it's due to the hard and persistent work of literally thousands of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. People every single day making decisions for recovery, education, health, and community, coupled with God's grace. This is a celebration of the power of we. It's a celebration of collaborations, partnerships, and relationships. It is a celebration of faith and hard work of a diverse community of people committed to social change, the dignity of every single person, and transformation. The ProjectHOME community advocates for just public policies, including policies that ensures health care access for all people. We know that affordable housing, health care, education, and employment not only saves lives, but it saves money. We believe that in the addition to the efforts of the private sector, the public sector at all levels must play a role to that end. And that is why we are glad to welcome all of you here today, because it is only in working together that we've been able to realize the dream of these centers. And it is only in continuing to work together that we will realize the greater dream of ensuring health care for every citizen and an end to homelessness for all. God stands squarely on the side of the poor and those who are suffering. We feel the urgency of homelessness and poverty on this bitter cold day today. So we commit, we act, and we pray. Glory be to God, whose power working in us can do infinitely more than we can ask or imagine. Amen. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Monica McCurdy, our Vice President of Healthcare Services.
Thank you. Today, we celebrate the start of construction on a beautiful new building. Thousands of work hours of many staff over the last 6 years or so led up to today's celebration. The beginning of this journey actually started almost 20 years ago when doctors Laura Carson Weinstein and James Plum from Jefferson's Department of Family and Community Medicine came to Project Home with their students and asked, how can we help? How can we be involved? With the steadfast support of their department chairs, formerly Richard Wender and now Christine Aronson, we are so glad that Jefferson came and stayed all these years. Their work has literally saved lives. Yes, that deserves applause. We are privileged to partner with 4 more outstanding organizations: Women Against Abuse, Einstein Hospital, Council for Relationships, and Pathways to Housing Philadelphia. The vision and passion for the Wellness Center rests squarely on the shoulders of an amazing team at St. Elizabeth's, both past and present. I am humbled and honored to work with these committed individuals every day. Would the Wellness Center Community Advisory Board, the Healthcare Committee of our Board of Trustees, and all of you out there, even if you're standing, wave, who work at St. E's now or in the past, please stand and remain standing so we can acknowledge you. Please stand. We are also really excited about the new partnership starting this year, Jefferson's Department of Pharmacy with Jefferson's Outpatient Rehab Services, Public Health Management Corporation, and the Philadelphia Freedom Valley YMCA. Our work would not be possible without the generous grant funds to support this work from the Independence Blue Cross Foundation, First Hospital, Keystone First, AmeriHealth Caritas, Curaterra Foundation, the Haas family, the Barra Foundation, the Independence Foundation, and the city's Department of Behavioral Health. And last, but certainly not least, Project Home is deeply appreciative to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and specifically an agency within HHS known as HRSA, which stands for Health Resources and Services Administration. That's a mouthful. HRSA oversees a critical program that Project Home is thrilled to have joined in November. After a highly competitive process, we are part of a network of 1,300 other health centers throughout the country, known as Federally Qualified Health Centers, or FQHCs for short. FQHCs serve as the nation's safety net healthcare system for 21 million Americans. Without the FQHC designation, the shovel would not have been able to go into the ground at this time. The FQHC program is not just a federal program, it is also administered by our partners at the state, specifically the Pennsylvania's Department of Public Welfare. We look forward to working with Secretary Mackerath and Mr. Vince Gordon, Deputy Secretary of Medical Assistance Program, who I believe has traveled from Harrisburg to join us today. Thank you so much for coming. The people we see at St. E's experience many health disparities. They are disproportionately affected by diabetes, are at higher risk of dying at an earlier age, have higher rates of low birth weight, have higher rates of major depression, and lower utilization of dental care. Also, residents of this community face many uphill battles with chronic unemployment, low income, high stress, and chronic, often preventable health conditions. To reverse these disparities, the Wellness Center will offer comprehensive services supported by an electronic health record system. We will offer primary medical care, nurse care management, behavioral health, dental care, nutrition classes, healing touch, mindfulness classes, an in-house pharmacy, and a fitness center operated by the YMCA, where there will also be shared space with a physical therapy provider. It's not enough to provide these services under one roof. Our healthcare providers will step outside of our silos and work in an integrated way with each other and with the patients we serve. Because of the many federal, state, city, academic, philanthropic, managed care, and service partners who are with us on this journey, the possibilities are literally endless for us to create innovative and cost-effective healthcare delivery models. Thank you to all who have made this day possible and for reminding us of the important values that will be our guiding force into the future, namely the idea that all people matter, all people deserve affordable health care, and the opportunity to become our best selves. And health really is our most precious resource. Thank you. I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Stephen Klasko. Last September, Dr. Klasko began his tenure as president of Thomas Jefferson University, as well as president and CEO of Thomas Jefferson University Health System. We are delighted he has returned to his hometown after serving leadership positions for several years as a dean and vice president at the University of South Florida. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Klasko.
Thank you. And I also want to thank you. If I needed a message that I'm not in South Florida anymore, this groundbreaking has done it. There's a lot of cynicism out there as to what government's role is in reducing inequality, whether or not the private sector can really make a difference for all of us in our community that are disadvantaged, and frankly, whether or not academic medical centers can really be a true asset to everyone in the community. Thanks to the amazing work of Sister Mary and her colleagues, thanks to the great support of this great governor and great mayor, thanks to great community leaders like Stephen Klein and the Heinekmans, today in Philadelphia, we are replacing that cynicism with great optimism. And I am so proud that Jefferson is a part of it. Jefferson's absolute mission to make sure that everyone has an opportunity for health does not come from the top. It does not start at the president. It is really part of our soul. When you rattled off some of the people that were involved in this, it was just a natural extension of what Jefferson has always been about. We've always been about making sure that everyone in our entire catchment area has the ability to prosper and be healthy. And as president of both the university and the hospital system, we're only going to extend that effort. Today, as a matter of fact, we signed an agreement to start a very innovative telehealth presence for the community. And the company that we work with made a commitment today that one of the first kiosks would be at the Stephen Klein Wellness Center. So I'm very proud of that, Sister Mary. So what you're going to see from the new Jefferson is a lot what you saw from the old Jefferson, only new. And it's going to be taking healthcare reform, turning it into healthcare transformation, whether that's through telehealth or whether that's through innovative models of healthcare. But it's going to retain that same commitment to healthcare for all. I'd like to paraphrase loosely what our great Eagles coach once said. And what I would say is, in Philadelphia, we don't just talk, we do. And the Stephen Klein Wellness Center could not be a better example of what we do and what will be really a paragon for the nation of really taking a grounds-up approach to really changing people's lives. Thank you, Sister Mary, and thank you for allowing Jefferson to be part of this.
Our next speaker is Loretta Drayden, who is a new member of our team at the St. Elizabeth's Wellness Center. She works as a community health worker and is also a consumer of our services. Loretta, we really appreciate your sharing experience and lending your skills and talents to our team. Please join me in welcoming Loretta.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning. My name is Loretta Drayden, and my journey with Project Home began 2 years ago when I moved into Rowan home with my son and daughter. I was in recovery programs for 3 years before that, and I went through a process of regaining custody of my 2 youngest children. What I needed most was stable, permanent housing. Project Home offered me a safe and supportive environment in which to raise my family and to continue to pursue my recovery. By the grace of God, I completed 4 years of clean and sober. Thank you. Also through Project Home's resident intern program, I began working at the Homespun Resale Boutique at 15th and Fairmount, where I gained valuable work experience and it started earning a paycheck again. The first time that I came to St. Elizabeth Wellness Center, I was at a crisis point. I was having an asthma attack, I had high blood pressure and diabetes. I was low in my medication and I did not have insurance. The Wellness Center staff made sure I was seen quickly and they treated me with care and dignity. The staff and providers at the Wellness Center view everyone who walks in as a human being, not just another file to be checked off and put in a drawer. They know your name. They spend time with you, listen to your needs, and go above and beyond to give well-rounded care. I am proud to say that recently I joined the staff of Wellness Center as a community health worker. I am a bridge between the consumer and the provider, making sure that we understand the particular needs of each person so we can offer the best possible care. As part of my own recovery process, I became a certified peer specialist, which gave me the skills to accompany and empower others to seek their own wellness. I accompany our consumers on their journey towards health and wholeness because two is always better than one. I work closely with people who have diabetes, calling to make sure that they're taking their medication and checking their blood sugar. I make sure our providers know what's going on with that person, including physical and mental health issues, so that we can respond with all of their necessary resources. I am so excited to be here to see this new phase and growth of Wellness Center. This new facility and all of the new services that will be offered here will transform my community, my neighborhood, from a community of need to a community of wholeness. We have to spread the word that Stephen Klein Wellness Center is where it's at. Thank you for this opportunity to share in this exciting moment in Project Home history.
Great job, Loretta. Thank you so much for your hard work and your dedication. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Representative Curtis Thomas, who's with us here today. We're so excited for his leadership and support, and also Captain Lee from the 22nd District, our fearless leader that keeps us all. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Governor Corbett. The financing of the Stephen Klein Wellness Center and subsequently the Older Adult Center would have never happened if it wasn't for the strategic partnership of the Commonwealth in two really key ways. The first is that many of you know that the governor transformed the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program into a grant program that would really be about creating jobs. And the Stephen Klein Wellness Center is a key example of the creation not only of the construction jobs, but also of the many jobs that will be, like Loretta, who now was not working, now is working because of the Stephen Klein Wellness Center. But in addition, we gave the governor, and that's really the mayor and Council President Clark, gave the governor a bonus project with this. Not only because of that grant and the acquisition of this land, were we able to do the Klein Center. Council President Clark said, you know what, we really need an older adult center in this community, and I am going to work with the mayor and everybody else to get that going. So not only are we celebrating the Klein Center, but we also got another development project. $19 million are being invested here on the 2100 block of Cecil B. Moore Avenue, and that the catalyst for that was the governor's vision for more jobs through the Redevelopment Capital Assistance Grant. So Governor Corbett, oh, we're not finished. We're not finished. We have more. We have more. We have more. Not only did the Commonwealth give us that catalyst grant, but also through the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, under the tremendous leadership of Brian Hudson, Healthcare and housing go hand in hand. As Loretta said, when you're homeless, and you might be able to, go to the ER or get healthcare in some which way, to have a home is so basic to everything we do. The Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency is a national model. When Governor Corbett, was elected, he appointed the Secretary of Banking, Glenn Moyer, and Tom Hagen to the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Board. And the Pennsylvania Finance Agency is seriously a national model that is recognized all over the country because of the way it helps people stay in their homes and so that they're not foreclosed on their homes, as well as develops affordable rental housing for people with special needs. So the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, because of the creativity and innovation, went and got new market tax credits, which enabled us to get another $4.7 million to secure for the financing of this center. So again, the governor's leadership and the really remarkable work that is done to create employment, healthcare, and housing, and those three things have to work together, really give us the potential to be a national model for ending homelessness in our state and all across our state. So with that, I extend a warm welcome and a heart-filled gratitude to say, come on up, Governor Corbett. We really thank you so much for your leadership and your, commitment to this.
Thank you,
this
Sister. Thank you, Sister, very much. I think that I know you have recognized Sister very many times, but I think she deserves another round of applause for this. And Loretta, you've had quite a journey, and you will continue to have quite a journey, and this facility is going to be a home to a lot of other people to have a journey and to have the health care that they need and have assistance that they need. But I think Loretta deserves another round of applause also, don't you? I know it's cold outside, but I feel pretty warm in here because of the care, the dedication, and the love that people have for each other, for the community, for the city of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We could not be here, though, without the work that Sister and everybody that she has so easily talked to, maybe a little more firmly, a little more convincingly, but with a vision of where we need to go. I was struck driving down here, and I'm off script here, to think about if you go back 1961, on the steps outside the Capitol, President Kennedy spoke the famous words, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Well, we could translate that to state or to city, and that's exactly what we see happening here today, and happening, frankly, all over the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but I can't think of a better example than what Sister has done in looking at what the community needed, what the country needed, and going around and talking to people, convincing people that this is the right thing to do for the community, for the city, for our state and our country. So I think we can really say that what you have here has embraced those words from, I think, if I do my math right, 52 years ago, and understand that we do have an obligation to help those who can't help themselves. And there are many different ways that we can go about that, and there can be great debate, and I know in the General Assembly there's great debate on that. But that's the beauty of this country, to be able to debate it. But in the long term, we have to be able to take a look at where we are going and how we help the different individuals. And I'm glad that as a state, we're able to participate in that and not look at having the state or the federal government do everything, because the requests and the needs are many all across the country, all across the state. But when we all work together, and for those of you in business, we kind of use the word leverage. When we leverage the different interests that we have, the different abilities that we have, but with a common vision that we need to improve a community you get projects such as this. When we talk about health care, we talk about drug treatment. We all know it's needed. But how do we finance that in the long term? But all coming together and leveraging, everybody contributing a little bit, stimulating somebody else, challenging somebody else to get involved in it. From the banks to the businesses to the tax credits to using state tax dollars. One of the ladies, and I forget now which one, when I came up said, thank me for giving them the money. It's not my money. Okay? It is your money. It is the taxpayers' money. And I think that's one of the reasons we kind of looked at the program that I inherited and said, we have to see how that money's being used and where's the return on investment. And is there a return on investment in this one? Since you're here, sister, you're darn right. Okay? The return, though, isn't just in dollars. It's in health care. It's in housing. It's in treatment and helping people get jobs. It really is that warm feeling, even though it's a cold day. That's the return. But yes, I can go back and say to the legislature why we invested these monies, and the legislators all come in with very good ideas. We've got to use those dollars to the best that we possibly can. A lot of projects are meritorious, but we are continuing to look for where do we get the biggest return on the investment. Well, I couldn't think of a better example than this. When I know a small investment from the state, I hate to say $3 million is small, or all the other money that we came in through PFHA. But it is compared to some of the generosity of many of you here, whether you be businesses, hospitals, or individuals. Because we were able to come together as that community, as Pennsylvania, as Philadelphia, and the city of brotherly love, and look to the future. Take what was an area that obviously needed help and continues to need help, and look to the future so that when we're all passed on to another location, those who are here are going to be able to say, in 2013 and 2014, and sister, you started 25 years ago, if I remember correctly, and starting 25 years ago, those people who lived in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania understood what we need, and they're giving it to us better than they found it, and they will do the same thing for the next generation. So thank you for allowing me to speak to you a few minutes.
Thank you, Governor Corbett, and we share that vision of providing meaningful opportunities for people that were once living on the streets or that are homeless, who are now taxpayers, voters, and active participants in creating the future for many more today. It's also my distinct pleasure to welcome Mayor Nutter. The city has been a key player in this development as well. The Department of Recreation, and Mike DeBerdinis is with us today. We extend a warm welcome to the Department of Recreation, who is spearheading the older adult centers development. The Department of Commerce, through the economic tax credit, developing economic opportunities in our community. The Health Department, and the Pennsylvania Redevelopment Authority, and Brian Abernathy is here with us. All those different city agencies have played a key role in making this project possible, and the city's generosity in donating the entire city block, which will now become the Stephen Klein Wellness Center and the Older Adult Center. So it is my pleasure and distinct honor to welcome Mayor Michael Nutter.
Good morning, everyone, and Sister Mary, thank you very, very much, and much as the governor did, and this might happen a couple times, but I think you're kind of used to this. Can we please give Sister Mary another big, big round of applause? Governor Corbett, thank you for being here, and certainly at least equally important, thank you for the investment in this Stephen Klein Wellness Center, and all that's going to happen here. Council President Darrell Clark is not only, of course, the Council President, but the councilman for the 5th District. Can we please give both of them a big, big round of applause? State Representative Curtis Thomas is here because he's sitting right in front of me, so I know he's here. I came in through the circuitous route. There may be other elected officials normally we would say in the House. I think today we're saying in the tent. But if there are other elected officials here, certainly thank you and commend you for your work as well. PHA's President Kelvin Jeremiah. Kelvin, thank you for your work in the community. And Sister Mary mentioned a couple of the city folks, but they bear repeating. Mike DeBaradinas is our Deputy Mayor for Environmental and Community Resources. Sue Slauson is the First Deputy Commissioner for Recreation. Dr. Don Schwartz, Deputy Mayor for Health and Opportunity, and also the Health Commissioner for the City of Philadelphia. John Grady, President of PIDC. Thomas Story, the Director of Ambulatory Health Services for the Philadelphia Health Department. Brian Abernathy was mentioned as the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority. They and many others are contributors to this wonderful announcement today. But these kinds of projects, of course, the city can't do by ourselves. And I know the governor was talking about public-private partnerships, and there are many. Just to name a few. Joan Dawson McCannon, co-founder of ProjectHOME. Stephen Klein, President and CEO, founder of the Klein Company. And today, and I try to do this most of the time, sometimes I get it reversed, but today I'm going to start with Lee Middleton, and we'll give a little shout out to John. But Lee, thank you so very much. John and Lee Middleton, what a great family, the work they do. And all of our other funders. There are so many things that we need to do. There is so much need. And often, of course, unfortunately, governments can't do it all by ourselves. And so I want to thank all of you for making this day possible. Of course, it is one of the colder days, but you know, in the months to come, there are a whole bunch of people who are going to be in a much warmer personal circumstance as a result of us standing out here, even though it's a pretty nice tent, to make this wellness center happen. We're going to revitalize the economy of this community, and that's important as well. 54 jobs will be created from the wellness center's construction, 58 permanent jobs anticipated from the development of the wellness center. We like jobs. Somebody's working. In addition to the economic boost, of course, the Stephen Klein Wellness Center will provide accessible health care by expanding existing services, including dental and physical therapy, a pharmacy, and a YMCA-managed fitness facility for the residents right here in Strawberry Mansion. Philadelphia, unfortunately, has the highest poverty rate of the 10 largest cities in the United States of America, presently at 26.9. Just a few months ago, it was 28.4. We know that Americans struggling with poverty face challenges in accessing quality health care, including thousands of Philadelphians. This wellness center will give residents right here in Strawberry Mansion access to affordable health care and a healthier lifestyle. That's why investments in facilities like this are so critically important. But as important, and you know I believe in public-private partnerships, you know that government does still have a fundamental responsibility to our people and to support them and look after them. As much as we appreciate all of the philanthropy and all of the corporate partnership and tax credits and all of those kinds of things, the government still has a vital role to play. And so whether it's investing in our children's education, whether it's expanding access to health care, these are still the fundamental responsibilities of government as we know it, at least here in the United States of America. This is just phase one of the project. Sister Mary alluded to a second phase. The city of Philadelphia is also investing in the neighborhood in other ways and working to revitalize it. Phase two of this project on this very site is a new $3 million facility for the Martin Luther King Older Adult Center, which will be adjacent to the building that we're talking about today. This new home for the Older Adult Center would not have been possible. Let me repeat that. Would not have been possible without the support and leadership of your district council person, our city council president, Council President Darrell Clark. You made that happen. And it wasn't just because he said he liked to see it happen. He put money into it. Money. You know that thing we don't have a lot of, but he had some and dedicated it to this particular site, and we have a need. Council President Clark worked with Deputy Mayor DeBaradinis and First Deputy Commissioner Slauson and the whole Parks and Rec system to support the relocation of the Older Adult Center, which is currently at the MLK Rec Center. Joining the MLK Older Adult Center with the Wellness Center will provide better access to health care services for our seniors. Our seniors, incredibly precious resource to all of us. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be here but for the love and support of my grandmother, who I grew up with, who helped me to understand what life is all about. And when we connect our seniors, our more senior Philadelphians, and if you live long enough, you'll get there. But when we connect them with our young people to help them understand some of the lessons of old, you know, some of those old things that we used to do, they're still right on time, and they can learn a lot from our seniors. These projects are just two of the great things going on in the Strawberry Mansion community. You may have seen just yesterday in the Philadelphia Daily News highlights about the successful efforts of our principal, Linda Wayman, federal prosecutor Robert Reed, and the Philly Rising Initiative in revitalizing Strawberry Mansion High School, whose team, fielding a football team for the first time, I understand, in 40 years, won the Public League Championship. Give it up for Strawberry Mansion. But that's not the only thing that they're doing, and we're excited certainly about those young people, but filmmaking and culinary programs also at Strawberry Mansion. This community hung in there. They never gave up on themselves. And we have a responsibility to stand with you each and every day, making these investments, helping a community to grow and to thrive right here in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. And I can think of no better way to demonstrate that than this public-private partnership with the Wellness Center and a brand new older adult center right here in the heart of North Philadelphia. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
So, Mayor, I'll be remembering we have this on tape, and the important role of the city and the state and the federal government in funding these projects. That may come back to bite you. That just may come back to bite you. I couldn't help. I just couldn't help it. Just couldn't help it. Okay, but again, the hope that is palpable today. I'd like to introduce Kelvin Jeremiah. The mayor referred to Kelvin. Kelvin is the new executive director of the Philadelphia Housing Authority and has launched and just was awarded by the federal government a new choice neighborhood grant for this entire community for economic, housing, and revitalization. And we're happy to be able to help Kelvin jumpstart that with the older adult center as well as with the Stephen Klein Wellness Center. And Kelvin, we really welcome you, your partnership and your leadership, because we know that together we can make so much more difference than any one of us can working alone. So join me in welcoming Kelvin Jeremiah today. And now it is my honor to introduce to you Council President Clark, who we all know and love in this community because Council President Clark is so involved in so many ways. And Project Home has been very fortunate to be able to partner with the Council President in the home ownership in the neighborhood, the Honickman Learning Center, Comcast Technology Labs, the work at St. Elizabeth's. And let me give a shout out to Miss Helen Brown, one of our great community leaders and really inspirational, along with so many of our other older adults in this community. So without further ado, it is really with my admiration and gratitude that I introduce to you Council President Darrell Clark.
Good morning. Sister Mary, you can please excuse the governor for getting up without being called on. He's not around you as much, and he didn't know who was really in charge of this neighborhood. So you have to excuse him. All right, and Mayor, now I've always talked about Sister Mary with this phone she had up in her apartment. She has a little apartment around the corner, and every time she needs money, she goes up there and grabs that phone. Hello, God? I'm getting ready to make a request, right? So I need you to do your magic, right? And it always works. But now, Sister Mary, you didn't tell me you had a tape recorder now? Oh, God, we don't have a chance. Folks, I just want to say how excited I am personally and for the community and the city council and the mayor and the governor, all the elected officials and Representative Thomas for this particular community that's had a significant number of challenges. We had the pleasure of having Project Home come into our community years ago, and if I can sum up Project Home and what it meant to this particular community, I'd say adaptability. They have come to the conclusion early on in their tenure, in their infancy stage, that we needed to deal with homeless challenges in the neighborhood and in the city of Philadelphia, and they adapted a model that allowed us to deal with that particular problem. And then as they came up into this particular section of the city, they understood the need to stabilize communities with home ownership, and they worked with a number of partners to pull that together. And then they understood that the educational needs of our young people were extremely significant, and we worked with our good friends, the Honickmans and the Roberts and all of the other people that are a part of the Project Home family, and build a wonderful facility around on Judson Street. They've always figured out a way to deal with the needs of the people in this community. And I just want to say how excited I am and how proud I am of the wonderful work you've done. This particular Project Home family is an interesting process, because you get adopted and you don't even know. You actually don't even have papers. You just get, it's kind of like, I'm talking to my friends. I know, Lynn, you know what I'm talking about. The Middletons, you know what I'm talking about. Now you, Steve, you're the latest member. Got no papers, but all of a sudden, mail starts coming to your house. Project Home, right? What is that all? And it's a wonderful thing. And with that, I want to say to the people who are here for the first time to one of these events, guess what? You are adopted, all right? And it's a special thing. But for the groundbreaking ceremony today, I just want to say how important and significant it is to have a facility that's going to be proactive in dealing with some of the health challenges in this neighborhood. The mayor has indicated earlier about some of the statistics and about this particular community. Governor referenced the need to deal with some of those needs. And I want to say it is really a wonderful thing that Jefferson and Steve spearheading this initiative to get things done. The Middletons being a significant part, again, for wonderful development, and how important this means to the neighborhood, not just in the actual building itself and not actually as it relates to the service that will be provided, but the symbolism associated with investment in this neighborhood makes people in this community understand that people do care about this community. As I talk to my friends and residents, because I happen to be fortunate enough to grow up in this community, we understood what this used to be. All right, this used to be, Cecil B. Moore was the block that you wanted to be. All right, I mean, it was all of the things happened to Cecil B. Moore, and through a series of time, some unfortunate things happened. But now we're bringing it back. We're going to bring it to the level and surpass that level than what it was. So to all of the partners, Project Home, all of the partners, the friends, governor, mayor, I want to thank you, Representative Thomas, Kelvin, Brian, all you folks. I'm just going on. I'm going to miss some names and I'm going to get in trouble. But I just want to thank you all so much. I'm just so excited about what we've done today. So again, Mary, thank you for your wonderful work. Keep up the work. We will be awaiting your next request. Thank you.
If you go anywhere in the country and you're in the work of trying to end homelessness or affordable housing, the first thing that people say to you is, if you're from Pennsylvania, how incredibly lucky you are to have the leadership and the vision of the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. And I really just want to welcome and thank Brian Hudson, not only for what he's done for the state of Pennsylvania, for the city of Philadelphia, but for what he's done around the country, the way he's inspired so many more agencies to go that extra mile, get that extra dollar to help people most in need. So please join me in welcoming Brian Hudson.
I got to tell you that you set the bar high. Each time I think we've reached a new milestone. She tops at JBJ Soul Homes, Kate's Place, and now we have the Wellness Center. So I got to tell you, it's an honor to have you as our partner at PHFA, and you and Joan McConnell. So give yourselves and Project Home a big hand again. I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience, so I wanted to be clear. I did not bring housing tax credits today, especially since I'm sitting next to Council President Darrell Clark. That's 2 weeks from now. I also want to thank Governor Corbett for his support, because without your support, Governor, PHFA would not be able to fulfill its mission. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Representative Curtis Thomas, I've testified before many of your committees on foreclosure prevention and affordable housing, and again, thank you for your tireless leadership also. I want to acknowledge two of my board members in the audience who, again, without their support, I would not be able to do the things that I do around the country and also for Pennsylvania. John Payon and Mark Swartz. Mark is in the baseball hat. He always has a baseball hat on. I think you've heard a common theme. It's a public-private partnership. I also want to acknowledge and thank certainly the Honigan family, the Middleton family. We've been partners for a while now, and Stephen Klein with your support. This is a model that Sister Mary touched on it, but I want to show to my colleagues across the nation. We applied for the New Markets tax credits because we thought it fit PHFA's mission very well as the administrator of the low-income housing tax credit. It had to be used in distressed areas. And I have a newfound appreciation for lobbying for New Markets tax credits, what the developers go through to lobby for our low-income housing tax credits. It's a tough process. The model you see here today, I urge you to talk to your congressmen when you see them to continue to fund this program, because this is exactly the model that we're going to be showing Congress and how it can work to serve the low-income areas and distressed communities. Sister Mary, you touched on it. Our work is far from done. Our PHFA's mission is to provide affordable housing to those in need, and Project Home has done a phenomenal job of doing that. We're proud to have you certainly as our partner going forward, and I'm going to continue our lobby efforts in Washington. It's a great model that we're going to show. And I can't wait to come back, because I think we're going to eat at JBC Soul Homes later on today, which is another project that we finance also. But this is how it gets done. U.S. Treasury, we want to get them out here. We want to get the credits reauthorized so we can continue to do this. So from behalf of PHFA staff and the board members, it's a pleasure to have Project Home, Sister Mary, as our partner. And we're looking forward to the next request, which I know in 2 weeks we're going to be making decisions there. So. Thank you for all that you do and for being a partner of PHFA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Monica, and thanks for inviting me to join you today. These guys are a tough act to follow, don't you think? Although I think Loretta may be the toughest act to follow of all. On behalf of Secretary Sebelius, of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, and Regional Director Joanne Grossi, I am so happy to be a part of this celebration in honor of this milestone for Project Home and for this community. As Monica mentioned earlier, the Health Resources and Services Administration is a sub-agency within the Department of Health and Human Services, and our agency is responsible for funding and managing the Community Health Center program. And we are so delighted that Project Home successfully competed, and I mean competed, to get a grant and become a community health center site. For those of you who may not be familiar, community health centers play a really critical role in our healthcare delivery system. It's the largest network of primary care providers in Pennsylvania and across the country. For more than 40 years, the community health centers have been providing high-quality care to individuals who are socially or economically challenged, for example, uninsured people or underinsured individuals, those people who live in rural communities, as well as those people experiencing homelessness. There are more than 9,000 community health center sites all across the country. More than 200 of those are here in Pennsylvania, and they're providing care to more than 21 million Americans and more than 670,000 of our fellow Pennsylvanians. So it's a really significant network of providers. So recognizing the role that those health centers play, the Affordable Care Act has made an historic investment in the Community Health Center program. The Affordable Care Act added an $11 billion to the Community Health Center program. And it's from those Affordable Care Act funds that Project Home has received this grant award that allows the start of this facility right on this ground where we stand today. I think all of you would agree that healthcare is a difficult business to be in and to sustain financially these days. And when you add in all of the federal requirements that come with a community health center grant around quality of care and access to care, such as serving all incoming patients, regardless of their inability to pay or their insurance status or their income, it becomes all the more difficult. So we are extremely grateful that Project Home has decided to take on this important role and become a community-based provider right here in Philadelphia. So congratulations again to the board and the staff of Project Home. And please rest assured that the United States Department of Health and Human Services stands with you and with this community as your partner.
Thank you, Pam. I would also like to take a moment to recognize another important guest in the audience, Ms. Jane Vincent, who's the Regional Director of HUD, who is able to join us today. And now, please welcome my amazing colleague, Janet Stearns. She is the Vice President for Real Estate Development at Project Home, and Janet has led this project of the Stephen Klein Wellness Center from conceptualized vision to a concrete reality. Janet.
Good morning. The words spoken here today are evidence of the many hands and hearts and minds that helped to get to this point in the life of the Stephen Klein Wellness Center. This is a celebration of a beginning and an end, a beginning of construction and an end to letting deteriorated and abandoned buildings stand on the site in our neighborhood. Thank you. The community has spoken, and it is a beloved community by many. The Project Home real estate development team who worked on this project over the last year, Matt McCarter, Larry Arney, and I, would like to give our thanks. First, we recognize the many dedicated Project Home staff who worked on this project before we started, including those still with Project Home, Renee Murdoch, Joe Roberts, and of course, never last and never least, our dear friend, Ms. Helen Brown. Among those who helped shape the early vision of this project are many leaders within the City of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority. Even with the guidance of Carl Primavera and others at Claire Harrison, we could not have made it through the maze of the land acquisition and permitting without the steadfast commitment of the city and the PRA, especially over the past months from Brian Abernathy and his team at the PRA. Thank you. Also with the PRA, Tanya Nick Scafidi, Jane Duffy, Melvis Dunbar, Brian Romano, many others, but thanks to all of you and to all the City of Philadelphia. When our architects from Brower and Hopman arrived on the scene about a year ago to start designing this building, there were already those at the tables: Steve Klein, Sister Mary Scullion, Joan Dawson McConnon, Monica McCurdy, and others who had a vision of the Wellness Center. But we want to thank Mike Hopman, Scott Larkin, his team, Stephanie Grattino, they gave the shape and form to the vision of this beautiful building that we will now be building. The design process was also guided by Jeff Allegretti and others at Innova, Marty Eustace at Eustace Engineers, Sam Cuccia at ECI, Earth Engineers, many others, not the least of which is our construction managers, Intech Construction, and their amazing team under the leadership of Craig Sabatino, the president of Intech, and Phil Moses, whose dedication helped get us to this point. And now to the project manager, Harry Maglienti, and the site superintendent, Jim Neecom, who will lead this construction. Finally, we thank our amazing funders and all those involved in financing the projects. Once again, just to thank PNC and Ryan Shuey, Frank Peraza, PHFA and CCG, Commonwealth Cornerstone Group, our longtime friends Brian Hudson, Dave Evans, who was very instrumental in the project, Charlotte Fulmer, Nonprofit Finance Fund, and DJAC, Cassie Archibald, Brendan Byer, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and all of the PIDC staff involved in the RACP grant, and in the whole New Market Tax Credit closing team. On our side, George Nagel at Soren and Rand, Regional Housing Legal Services, Mark Levin, Laura Schwartz, Mark Schwartz, and many others, Ed Kreskoff, Mark Einstein, Millie Korn, all of you, thank you so much. The New Market Tax Credit process was an incredible team effort, and we'll be forever grateful to everyone on the whole team who worked around the clock through most of December to make sure that this project closed in 2013 and it will be built in 2014, God willing. All of you have contributed to an effort that will be part of the heart and soul of this beloved community, and so you too are a part of that community. You are adopted. The concept of beloved community in the 1960s became a hallmark of the civil rights movement as expressed by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Many here today have taken up the mantle of restoring a beloved community, a community free from the afflictions of poverty and violence, a community in which all can flourish, in Dr. King's words, as beloved sons and daughters of God. May it be so. And may we take another step towards that goal today as we dig this foundation, a new beginning. Thank you so much.
Lee and I got to know Project Home many years ago, and we recognized from the beginning that this is a powerful organization. Sister Mary, Joan, and the entire Project Home community are mission-driven and results-oriented, with a proven track record of integrated, comprehensive, and effective solutions. It was natural for us to partner with them as a way to address our nation's most important social issues: housing, poverty, hunger, and education. We appreciate Project Home's dynamic combination of strong values and strategic thinking, and the Stephen Klein Wellness Center is a wonderful example of how Project Home builds strong partnerships and leverages resources to accomplish big projects. The many public, private, and nonprofit leaders here today represent the critical collaborations that are necessary to solve our toughest social problems. Project Home excels at assembling these partnerships, and no one has been more crucial to Project Home's success than the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. With Brian Hudson's leadership, Project Home not only has received tax credit allocations, but also a wealth of other support for both the Klein Wellness Center and its multiple housing projects. And we will be talking to you in 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but in baseball it's like 12:01, so you can expect Mary's phone call about that time. Philadelphia has benefited enormously from Project Home's work over the past 25 years, and Lee and I are convinced that our ongoing investment in Project Home will ensure that success continues in the future. We share Project Home's conviction that solutions to homelessness and poverty make us a stronger city as a whole. We, too, believe that this wellness center will not only meet the needs of the people and families who use its services, but that it will make Philadelphia a healthier and more economically prosperous city in many ways. Our vision to end homelessness cannot be achieved without the commitment of all the people who are here today. We truly are inspired by and grateful to the governor, the mayor, Daryl, Pam, Brian, Thomas Jefferson, Betty Moran, and the dozens of people and organizations partnering with Project Home who are making this project a reality. Your generous participation with Project Home in all its projects serves as a role model for our nation. And Steve, thank you especially for championing this exciting project from day one. Our gathering here today is a direct result of your steadfast mission to meet the healthcare needs of economically struggling people in the community. Over nearly 6 years, you have devoted countless hours to every aspect of this project, from the services it will provide to its design to fundraising. Your commitment and leadership have resulted in this munificent gift to the city. Everyone, please welcome Steve Klein, the lead founder of this project.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for such a warm reception. I hope in standing up you got a little exercise and allowed you to warm up a little bit. Well, as everybody knows, today is a very special day. After 7 years of planning, developing, and raising financing, the Wellness Center is going to be a reality, and I am ecstatic. I must also admit, another reason I'm ecstatic that the Wellness Center is going to start construction, I won't have to sit through an 8th year of planning and developing. My parents established our family tradition of helping others. In the early 1970s, my mom and dad built the Klein Community Center in Northeast Philadelphia. And in the early 1990s, a community center in Holon, Israel, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv. In the late 1990s, my mother and I built a sports center in the same city. In 2005, I wanted to do something special in North Philadelphia community, and I was referred to Sister Mary and Joan McConnon by Lynn and Harold and by my best friend, Steve Corman. I approached Sister Mary and Joan about doing a community center, but their idea was a wellness center, which they believe would have more of an impact. And as everybody knows, who can say no to Sister Mary? I'm glad I didn't. So the past 7 years have been a whirlwind of possibilities turned into realities, thanks to the power of we. It's an amazing feeling to see this project finally happening. I want to take this opportunity to thank Sister Mary, Joan, and Monica for their hard work, their dedication, and their belief in the Wellness Center. A special thanks to Dr. Richard Wender and his Jefferson staff for their patience and expertise in developing the medical programs for the Wellness Center. I am also grateful to our lead donors for their generosity, without whom this project would not be possible. Leah and John Middleton, Jefferson University Hospital, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Mrs. Betty Moran, Independence Blue Cross, PNC Bank, the City of Philadelphia, Connolly Foundation, Jennifer and Steve Corman, Lynn and Harold Honickman, Jane Pepper, and of course, what we've all learned today about Health Resources and Services Administration, better known as HRSA. Also, I want to recognize my personal mentor in this project, Glenn Shively. I would sit next to Glenn at every meeting, and these professionals are always using these medical acronyms. So I would sit next to Glenn, and I would say, Glenn, what does that mean? Glenn, what does that mean? Obviously, Glenn is a professional in the medical field, and he helped me a lot. My thanks to Glenn for all your patience with me. Finally, a thanks to my Toby for her patience and her support. This project would not have happened without the support of our city leaders, namely Mayor Michael Nutter, and in particular, Council President Darrell Clark. Darrell was instrumental in helping us acquire the land for this center, so thank you, Darrell, for all your support. In addition, as you have learned today, we have received the largest grant from Governor Corbett and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And of course, we have received support from the federal government, represented by Pana Kenya, who's from HRSA. My parents taught me the importance of getting truly involved in the communities you care about. Developing and supporting projects like the Wellness Center has been a learning experience for me and has given me great personal satisfaction. Thank you for all being here today. Your past, current, and hopefully future support of this very innovative project is truly appreciative. In the words of Winston Churchill, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure and honor every single day to collaborate with the most talented, tenacious, creative colleagues. And truth be told, it's really about trying to keep up with both Monica and Janet, who have driven this vision to a reality. So it's just such a joy and pleasure to be here today. And as I look out upon everyone gathered here today, I'm reminded of a core belief of the ProjectHOME community. 25 years ago, we were in the locker rooms of a swimming pool trying to figure out how we can permanently break the cycle of homelessness and poverty. And it was understood then, and is bearing witness today, that we believe that the key to ending poverty and homelessness is in the building of relationships. And we look forward to the day when the doors of the Steve Klein Wellness Center are open and providing critically needed care to our community. But we also know that there is much more work to be done. All of the groups gathered here today, whether you're from the public, private, nonprofit sector, must continue to tap that power of we and work together with our community leaders on a shared goal of providing health care for all our citizens, especially those most marginalized and vulnerable. As Sister Mary stressed earlier this morning, the ProjectHOME community passionately believes that all persons are entitled to decent, affordable health care. So we cannot be satisfied until all our sisters and brothers, and especially all of the children in our care, have the health coverage that they need and deserve. When that day comes, we can truly say we are a healthy society, and that will certainly be a day of sheer joy, blessing, and celebration. So thank you all for helping us to celebrate today. Special thanks to Lee and John Middleton, to Steve Klein, for all of our public partners who have spoken today about that vision of a community, and especially to Sister Mary Scullion, to Miss Helen Brown, Miss T, Miss Edwina, Miss Elaine, who have been here doing this work day in and day out for decades. To Monica and Janet, and taking that powerful vision that is in this room and every person and making it a reality with this project. And we look forward to seeing all of you back here in early 2015 to open those doors. Thank you very much, and God bless.